All right, here's the deal. We're on a 3-session losing streak, partially because I've just been playing bad poker. So today I really want to focus and just play some good poker. We're here at Maryland Live, gonna play some 1-3 No Limit. Gonna be buying in for the max, which is 400. So let's get into it. So I make my way into the poker room and post up in the 8 seat. I actually don't play a single flop for over an hour. But then I look down at pocket 10s. I'm in middle position, and after a couple limps, I decide to use a standard raise size of $15. We end up getting 2 calls and see a flop 3 ways that comes queen 4-4. When it checks to me, I decide to throw out a bet of $20 and only the guy to my right calls. The turn comes a 7, and when he checks it to me, I decide to slow down and check it back. The river comes another 7, and when he checks it to me for a 3rd time, I'm pretty sure I have the best hand here, and I think a bet here is okay. But I'm not targeting many hands, so I decide to just check it back. I show my hand, and we're good. He mucks his hand. So here on the button, we look down at king queen offsuit. Couple limps to me, I make it 15 to go, and we get 2 calls. We see a flop 3 ways that comes queen 10-9 rainbow. When it checks to me, I decide to bet $25, and we get 1 call. The turn's a pretty interesting card. It comes the ace of diamonds, putting 2 diamonds on the board now. When he checks it to me, originally I thought this was a bad card for me, but it actually doesn't change much. The hands he's more likely to have that he check called flop with are going to be hands like queen jack or jack 10 that have that open-ended straight draw. And I don't want to just check it here and give him a free look at the river. So with that being said, I decide to bet $50 here, and he thinks about it for a sec. And after he thinks for about 20 seconds, he does decide to make the call. So I'm pretty confident he does have that open-ended straight draw right now. But then unfortunately, the river comes the king of diamonds. So although we river 2 pair, any flush draw gets there, and the obvious straight draw gets there as well. He decides to just lead into me here for $75, and I'm pretty certain that he just has the straight, so I decide to fold. Here in middle position, we look down at ace-7 of spades. I make it 15 to go, and we end up getting 3 calls. We go to a flop 4 ways that comes ace-10-3 all clubs. I decide to bet $25, and we end up getting 1 call from the player to my left. We see a turn card heads up that comes an offsuit 8. I decide to slow down and check it, and he bets $25. For that price, I elect to make the call. The river comes another 3, pairing the bottom card. I check it, and he checks it back. And unfortunately, we are not good, as he ends up having ace-10 for top 2 pair. So here in middle position, we look down at pocket queens. Couple limps to me, I make it 15 to go again, and we end up getting 2 calls. We go to a flop 3 ways that comes jack-8 deuce. Pretty good flop for queens. When it checks to me, I decide to bet $25, and we get 1 call from the small blind. However, the turn is not the greatest card. It comes another jack. This time the small blind decides to lead into me here for $16. It's a pretty weird line, and when he leads turn, I do expect him to have a jack here a fair amount of the time, but when he bets so small, I feel like I'm just priced into call, so that's what I do. The river comes in 9, and now he decides to lead for $100. I don't really know what that 9 did for him, but when he bets 16 on the turn and now 100 on the river, I have a feeling he probably has a good hand. So I decide to fold, and he ends up having a hand I was not expecting. Pocket 9s for the rivered boat. It turns out we did make the right call on the turn, and he was just fortunate enough to spike that 2-outer on the river. I decide to add on for another 100, and not too long after that queen's hand, we look down at pocket kings. Here in middle position, I decide to make it 15, and we only get 1 call from the player to my left. We go to a flop heads up that comes 4-7-8 rainbow. I decide to bet $20 here. I think it's okay to mix in a check here as well, being heads up, but here I decided to bet, and unfortunately, he decides to fold. So only about 5 minutes after that pocket king's hand, we look down at pocket aces. I'm under the gun +1 here and decide to make it $15. We end up getting 1 call from the button, and see a flop heads up that comes 8 high with 2 clubs. Definitely a good board for my hand, so I decide to bet $20. And after he thinks about it for a bit, he decides to raise it to $60. Now I'm a little confused on what he could have here. He could have flopped a set, or he could have some type of straight draw like 5-7, 7-9, or a flush draw as well. But since we're holding the ace of clubs, he can't have the ace high flush draw. All things considered, I decide to call his raise. And the turn card comes a pretty interesting card. It comes the 9 of clubs, bringing in the front door flush. I check it, and now he bets $100. I am really torn at what to do here, because now with this 9 of clubs, we do pick up a flush draw to go along with our hand. And I'm not sure facing this big of a bet, if I should just go all in or fold, because I only have about $225 remaining, and this player does have me covered. I guess in the moment, I decided a call wasn't the right move, because if a 4th club came, we probably weren't going to get paid off. I wasn't really a fan of this move, because I'm pretty sure we're behind a lot of the time, but I decided to go all in, just pushing my equity in hopes of a 4th club coming, and after I go all in, he snap calls. Definitely going to need some help, but help we do not get as the river comes the 5 of spades. I show my hand, and he ends up showing 8-9 of spades for the turn 2 pair. So he raised flop with top pair, and unfortunately turn 2 pair on the turn. Looking back, I'm just not happy with my decision to go all in on the turn. I think in this specific spot, it's way better to just fold or call. Anyways, I was considering rebuying, but I just was not happy with how I played this hand, so I decided to leave. Well, that was unfortunate, so we were in for 500, out for 0 for a loss of 500, bringing our 26 episode total to a profit of 856. Honestly, I think I was playing pretty good at the beginning. I think I was making the right decisions, had the right bet sizing, but when it came to that aces hand, I think I was just a little frustrated and just wanted to get it in with how much of a short stack I was, and with having the flush draw there, I just wanted to get it in. Kind of unfortunate that he turned 2 pair, but what can you do? I think I just need to be more patient. You know, this is now a 4-session losing streak. I really need to focus up, study more. Yes, I am getting a little unlucky, but that's not really an excuse to keep losing. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.